So for this activity, as part of the concepts of basic research, let's talk about the types of research, the three basic types of research. The first type of research is what we call our descriptive research. So what is it? It's a study that is designed primarily to describe what is going on or what exists all around us. And since this is more of an observational study and describing what is going on, the researcher has no control over the variables. And, you can only report what is happening or what has already happened. So let's talk about two specific types of descriptive research. That would be the most commonly used in the area of telecenters and in social research. So the first type is what we call our case studies. So this is a fairly common type of descriptive research. And the one example that I can point you to is a case study written up by Director Des Camba of the National Computer Center. It's entitled Telecenter Network Governance, Setting the Playing Field for a Network Culture. So this article that she wrote is part of a book called A Guidebook for Managing Telecenter Networks. So basically, in this case study, she uses the example of the Philippine Community e-Center Network as a telecenter network that is at the forefront of telecenter network governance, because the PhilSecNet or Philippine Community e-Center Network is one of the first telecenter networks that was set up globally, that was set up and is now a discrete organization. So she used the experience of PhilSecNet as a case study on how you could govern or how you can manage telecenter networks globally. Another form of descriptive research is the survey. So this is again a very popular type of research. In this case, the example here of a survey was made by an organization in Uganda in Africa called the Community Wireless Research Center, which is under the Makerere University. So they basically did a telecenter survey amongst 6 telecenters in their country. And as it says here, the main goal of the survey was to get a picture, again descriptive, of the current situation of telecenters in that area regarding existing and potential clients on the demand side, currently offered services, what is beneficial and not, and existing technical infrastructure such as internet, phone line, power, and etc. So these are the two most common types of descriptive research. So the second type of research is what we call our analytic type of researches. So comparing this with the descriptive type of research, when you do analytic research, you do more of an in-depth study and evaluation of the available information you have in an attempt to explain complex phenomenon. So now, the research has to use facts or information that is already available, and you need to analyze this in order to come up with a critical evaluation of the material. So let's go to specific types of analytic research. So as an example, you can do what you call a historical research. An example of this would be, for example, if you want to do research on how to effectively set up a telecenter in your community, you can do a historical research. So you will look at the past experiences of other telecenters in other areas. So that's one form of historical research. You can also do what we call a systematic review. So basically, this is a type of review where you get articles published by other authors, put them all together, review all of them, and see and to analyze the commonalities you get from these different articles. So for example, you want to do a research on the effectiveness of ICT-based digital literacy courses. So what you will do is do a literature search and come and look for various articles and collect them. These articles would all discuss the same thing about digital literacy, and then you will do a systematic review. You will see what is common about all these articles, what were their recommendations, conclusions, etc. And based on that, you will analyze the commonalities and all the recommendations that they have, and finally come up with your own. So again, one more, let's say, complex form of a systematic review is what we call our meta-analysis. So the procedure here is just like a systematic review, wherein you go through several researches, okay, but here you synthesize the research. So you analyze the results of research coming from various sources using statistical tools, statistical analysis. So unlike in a systematic review, wherein you analyze it only using more qualitative measures, here in a meta-analysis you adopt more quantitative measures. So a meta-analysis is a more complex form of analytic research. And the last type of research or group of research is what we call our quasi-experimental, some would call this pre-experimental, and experimental research design. So this is, let's say, a lot of researchers refer to experimental research design as the gold standard of research design, because here all processes, all variables can be controlled, okay, as opposed to the first two kinds of research designs. So as a researcher, you have control on one or more independent variables, and you can manipulate them, and as you manipulate them, you can determine the effect of these variables on each other, and you also randomize the subjects that you have. So in the next video supplement, I will explain more on specific designs under quasi-experimental and experimental research. So thank you.